हेलो हाय दोस्तों, स्वागत है आपका आज के द हिंदू न्यूज एनालिसिस में। मैं हूं हर्षवर्धन त्रिपाठी और आज का द हिंदू का न्यूज़पेपर यानी 12 अगस्त का न्यूज़पेपर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। जरा टॉपिक्स को देखिए। पहला टॉपिक, यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में इंडिया और चाइना फिर से एक दूसरे के आमने सामने आ चुके हैं और मुद्दा है एक आतंकवादी को इंटरनेशनल टेररिस्ट डेजिग्नेट करना। इसमें इंडिया, चाइना, पाकिस्तान के रिलेशंस किस तरीके से आपस में डिफरेंट डिफरेंट हो रहे हैं, ये देखने वाली बात है GS2 के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट। The second topic that you see is the 14th Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankar, has been elected. So the manner of the election of the Vice President of India is very much important for your GS2. We need to discuss that. In the last few weeks, we have seen that the 14th President of India also has been elected, and the manner of election of President is also important. Please make a note that Vice President and President both are a part of the union government, not of the state government. So we need to look into the particular powers and provisions of the Vice President of India also. Karnataka High Court has scrapped the composition or the constitution of ACB, that is Anti-Corruption Bureau. Now, Anti-Corruption Bureau basically was formed by Karnataka government to take over the powers of Lokayukt and to deal into the matters related to corruption. Corruption where public authorities are in question or public servants are in question. Now, this matter definitely went before the Karnataka High Court and it was challenged on the constitutional grounds. Whether the state government has the power to form such bureau or not, or whether the state government has a power to form an alternative institution which is taking away some of the powers formed by the central government, or you can say the Parliament of India. So that in that light, this decision has to be read. The fourth topic is very much important for GS2 again, in which Criminal Procedure Identification Act 2022 has been passed by the Parliament of India, and in this particular act, the right to privacy definitely is in question. Now, right to privacy entails a person's freedom to be remembered and to be forgotten. Recently, we have also seen the Supreme Court of India passing a judgment telling that right to be forgotten is a part of Article 21 of Indian Constitution. There is also 2017 judgment given by 9 judges of the Supreme Court of India, KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India, in that right to privacy has been upheld. Now, in that light, what is the peculiarity of Criminal Procedure Identification Act and how the government of India or is basically justifying before the parliament? There is a good explanation present in the Hindu newspaper edition today. We're going to discuss that. The launch of SSLV, small satellite launch vehicle, India's first maiden 3 days made launch vehicle, which was doing well, splendidly well, but due to a discrepancy in the data collection of accelerometer for 2 seconds, the mission entirely failed. And in this, we need to study SSLV also. Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, this particular topic is important from internal security point of view, as they are having a boundary dispute. Now, you see the 7 states which are in the northeastern region continuously face with each other boundary disputes, and they form panels and commissions to settle the dispute. Now, most of the times the boundary disputes are settled by Ministry of Home Affairs, but it is also up to the state government if they can mutually decide among each other. That is well and good. So, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh have tried to settle their boundary disputes around 12 of the districts. We are going to discuss that. India and Bangladesh have joined hands to prevent cross-border terrorism. Now, you see, Bangladesh is an important partner if we talk about the Bay of Bengal region. Now, for Bay of Bengal region, BIMSTEC organization is often seen in news, right? And in BIMSTEC, you see that this time what has happened? We have adopted a BIMSTEC charter in which Bangladesh has been given the responsibility to manage the trade around Bay of Bengal. So the trust between India and Bangladesh is very important right now. In that light, we are going to cover these 7 major topics. There are other smaller topics also, like there are issues related to China and Taiwan. Then there is a statement by Election Commission of India on the democracy index, democracy perception index, and likewise. So in this week, we are going to practice some of the 3 questions also, MCQ format, and 1 descriptive question also would be there. So try to write your answers in the comment box and tell me. So this is Harshvardhan Tripathi. Let's quickly start in-depth analysis of the Hindu newspaper today. Now, if we talk about Terror Sanctions Committee, this प्रपोजल वॉज गिवन बेसिकली बाय इंडिया, जिसमें कि इंडिया ने कहा था कि अब्दुल रऊफ असगर नाम का जो व्यक्ति है उसको जैसे मोहम्मद का लीडर का भाई है वो मसूद अजहर का। अब मसूद अजहर और रऊफ असगर, अब्दुल रऊफ असगर, ये दोनों लोग इन्वॉल्व हैं बहुत सारे अटैक्स में इंडिया में, जैसे कि 1999 में इंडिया में अटैक हुआ था, एक एयरलाइन हाईजैक हुआ था हमारा, पार्लियामेंट का 2001 का अटैक है, पुलवामा का अटैक है। तो इन सब में ये सब क्या है, ट्रेनिंग कैंप्स देते हैं, फंडिंग देते हैं, राइट, ये सब चीजों को करते हैं। तो इस केस में बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है यहाँ पे, और इसीलिए इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के रिलेशन जो हैं वो भी प्रॉब्लमैटिक हो गए इस चक्कर में। तो इसको पाकिस्तान में अरेस्ट कर लिया गया था नेशनल एक्शन प्लान ऑन टेरर के तहत। बस इसको क्या किया गया है, इंटरनेशनली डेजिग्नेट नहीं किया गया है। Now, this is the problem that India faces most of the times, because United Nations Security Council in India does not have a permanent seat over there. I think we all are aware about that. So this proposal basically was given by India under United Nations Security Council 1267 Sanctions Committee. So with this, I will also tell you the interesting resolution that is related to Afghanistan, United Nations Security Council resolution number 2593. This is also a resolution that India passed in August when India was the president of United Nations Security Council. In this, आपको पता है 15 सदस्यों में से 14 सदस्यों ने हामी भर दी है, इंडिया का साथ दिया है, whereas only one country, that is China, has basically not voted against. It has not even voted. So in that, India has raised this concern that again and again China is coming in the way, and China is supporting the terrorists. China is basically creating a kind of void where these terrorist organizations feel that China is a reliable country, whereas others are not. So China has a poor track record. Now, if we talk about United Nations Security Council, you can notice that this is the particular table of United Nations Security Council. You see, it is shaped like a horseshoe. It is shaped like a horseshoe. So it is also called as horseshoe table. Now, in this, the seated people, there are 15 people. There are 15 countries who sit, and in this 15 countries, there are 5 permanent and 10 non-permanent members. So this is a specialized organization of United Nations formed in 1945. It has 15 members, 5 of them are permanent, 10 are non-permanent. Now, a non-permanent member of United Nations is Security Council is elected by General Assembly for a term of 2 years, and is also stated that for in every year, हर एक साल में क्या है, 5 कंट्रीज जो हैं वो इनका इलेक्शन होता ही है यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में। अब यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में परमानेंट और नॉन परमानेंट सीट्स का क्या डिफरेंस है? सिर्फ एक ही डिफरेंस है कि परमानेंट जो सीट्स हैं वो वीटो पावर रखती हैं। कौन सी पावर रखती है? वीटो। वीटो की स्पेशल तरह की पावर होती है जिसमें कि हमें पता है कि अगर कोई रेजोल्यूशन पास हो रहा है और 5 देशों में से एक देश ने भी अगर मना कर दिया कि ये रेजोल्यूशन पास नहीं होगा या उसने नो वोट कर दिया, then that resolution cannot be taken away. So these 5 countries which are there has an important say, major say in terms of the security of the world at large. So there, the P5 countries, you need to remember the name. And this is also a famous story that India was given the seat in 1949. But India rejected that United Nations Security Council wala offer because non-aligned movement was at the peak. Now, if you notice, USA, UK, France, China, and Russia. These are the 5 countries which have a more important say with regards to the United Nations Security Council. Now, India has chaired 3 important committees of United Nations Security Council in the past 2 years. Like from January 2020 till December 2021, India was basically there for the position of non-permanent country, and it was the 12th time that India was elected as the non-permanent member, right? Moving further ahead, if we move further ahead, so this is the particular question of the day 1, and you have to tell me in the comment box question number 1 option bracket, right? So you will write your answer. If your question number 1 ka answer is A, you will write like this. If your answer is B, you will write like this. All right, so the question says that which among the following statements are incorrect? You need to tell us incorrect with regards to the power of the United Nations Security Council, right? If P5 countries votes in favor of any resolution, it is adopted by the UNSC. If P5 countries votes in favor of any resolution, it is adopted by the United Nations Security Council. If any one of the members of the P5 votes against the resolution, it cannot be adopted. The powers of the permanent five are more than the power other 10 member countries. The resolutions passed by UNSC will be followed by other UN institutions based on the UN Charter. Right? Now, there is a catch in this. You need to focus first to answer this. You need to focus United Nations Security Council has how many members? 10 plus 5. 15 members are there. Now, the decisions of these 15 members are different when it is about adoption of a resolution and when it is about the rejection of a resolution. जब कोई रेजोल्यूशन को अडॉप्ट करना है तो प्रोसीजर अलग है, जब कोई रिजेक्ट करना है तो प्रोसीजर अलग है. तो ये जो ऑप्शंस हैं बड़े ही ध्यान से पढ़िएगा और फिर मुझे अपने आंसर्स बताइएगा. करेक्ट? तो मैंने आपको शॉर्ट ट्रिक बता दी है. इसमें ट्रिक क्या है, आपको ध्यान देना है कि रेजोल्यूशन के अडॉप्शन के लिए और रिजेक्शन के लिए क्या प्रोसीजर है. क्या ये 15 के 15 देश रिस्पॉन्सिबल हैं या किसी और 5 देशों का जो P5 का जो पावर है वो कहां कहां लग सकता है. तो आप देखेंगे आपको हमेशा कोशिश की गई है परमानेंट 5 पे बात करने की. क्लू बता देता हूं, आंसर ABC में से कोई एक है, क्योंकि ये जो है ये एक जेनेरिक स्टेटमेंट है और जेनेरिक स्टेटमेंट्स क्या होते हैं हमारे, हमेशा सही होते हैं. आगे आइए. सेकेंड टॉपिक है 14th वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया इलेक्टेड. नाम है इनका जगदीप धांकर. अब इनके ऊपर कुछ पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चंस तो नहीं पूछे जाते, लेकिन हाँ प्रेसिडेंट पॉलिटी में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो पहला सवाल तो यही है कि वाइस प्रेसिडेंट को ओथ एडमिनिस्टर कौन करता है, तो वो किया है प्रेसिडेंट द्रौपदी मुर्मू ने. द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया एडमिनिस्टर्स द ओथ टू द वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया. एंड इफ यू नो प्रेसिडेंट की ओथ कौन एडमिनिस्टर कराता है, चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया. चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया की ओथ कौन एडमिनिस्टर कराता है, प्रेसिडेंट. सो प्रेसिडेंट बेसिकली चीफ जस्टिस और वाइस प्रेसिडेंट की ओथ दोनों को एडमिनिस्टर कराता है. राइट? व्हाट इज द नेचर ऑफ इलेक्शन ऑफ वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया? नाउ इट इज basically an electoral college. There is a voting body, indirect elections. There is a voting body which consists of members of both the houses of parliament. This is a probable question area, so please focus over here. The electoral college of president, the electoral college of vice president, the electoral college of you can say Rajya Sabha. These all are important gray areas where students usually do not focus, and questions appear from these areas, right? So for president, when we had discussed the news analysis, when the news analysis was taken by me, I had told you that president, the electoral college is very important. In the president's electoral college, we will find that the elected members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are there. Only elected members. And the catch is no nominated members are there. And thirdly, you will also find that elected members of state legislative assemblies are also there. State legislative assemblies are also there, not state legislative councils. Now, this was the electoral college, which means these are the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha के चुने हुए व्यक्ति, और स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव हर राज्यों के अपने स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव MLAs जो हैं वो सब वोट करते हैं प्रेसिडेंट के लिए. करेक्ट? कैंडिडेट्स होते हैं. और वाइस प्रेसिडेंट के लिए क्या होता है? वाइस प्रेसिडेंट के लिए भी इलेक्टोरल कॉलेज लगभग सेम ही होता है, बस वाइस प्रेसिडेंट में प्रेसिडेंट के इलेक्शन इलेक्टोरल कॉलेज से माइनस कर देना है आपको स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबलीज को, यानी कि सिर्फ बोथ द हाउसेज ऑफ पार्लियामेंट होता है. करेक्ट? एक इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन और भी है. इज देयर एनी प्रोविजन गिवन इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया फॉर द रिमूवल ऑफ वाइस प्रेसिडेंट? द अदर क्वेश्चन इट कैन बी फ्रेम्ड लाइक दिस, वेदर द प्रोसीजर फॉर इम्पीचमेंट is also there for the vice president of India. Now this you need to understand, because for president of India there is a particular procedure for removal, that is impeachment. Now impeachment, both the houses have a say on that. One house is the allegation making body, the other house would be the investigating body. With regards to vice president of India, what you need to check is whether both the houses have a say in the removal. I'll tell you a common sense wala logic. If you will notice the position of Vice President of India, you will find that he is only associated with Rajya Sabha. He is in no way associated with Lok Sabha. When Lok Sabha has a decision, has a say in the elections of the Vice President of India, but will it have an equal say in the removal also, where Rajya Sabha chairman is not directly related with Lok Sabha? That is where you can ponder and get the correct answer. Election of the Vice President of India, the manner is indirect. I think it's not a very unique information. It's a very common information. right? And this particular system is known as proportional representation by means of single transferable vote, right? This is the case that I already told you. Article 64, this is not 64, Article 64 of the Indian Constitution makes him the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Now, in civil services, we have not seen that these table questions come, but we have often seen in UPCS and in BPSC that there is a table for articles and then there is a table for provisions. In that table, Article 64 is related to ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So you can also complete this particular constitutional position of Vice President of India, right? Vice President can act as acting Chief Justice, acting President of India. This is important. If the President of India has resigned, if the President of India is dead, if the President of India is removed from the office, then it is stated that the office of the Vice President is vacant. Now, then the Vice President, the President will be removed and Vice President comes into picture. He is the acting President of India. And remember the tenure until which he can remain the Vice President of India. So the tenure basically for acting Vice President of India would be 6 months. Right? So you need to remember this. Let's move ahead. This is the question number 2. Important again from GS2 point of view, in the Indian polity point of view. As per the provision of the Constitution of India, which among the following statements is, or again, you have to tell the incorrect statement with regards to the office of the Vice President of India. Now, Vice President of India shall not be a member of any of the House of the Parliament. Whether this statement is true or false. Minimum age required for the office of Vice President is 35 years. Supreme Court of India has no jurisdiction over the electoral disputes for the office of Vice President, right? And Election Commission of India is the body which conducts elections for the Rajya Sabha. For the office of Vice President, I will put it here, right? So this particular, there are definitely, this is a handwritten material, so definitely there are some typos, like there are some thoughts in the mind, and the question is framed differently. Since we are humans, so I don't think so that you would mind these very nominal mistakes that we are making, but we are correcting also. Now again, you need to know what are the provisions for the office of the Vice President is given in the Indian Constitution of India, and then only you will be able to answer it. So if your answer is 2 ka A, do let me know in comment 2 ka A. If your answer is 2 ka D, do let me know in the answer 2 ka D. Incorrect statement आपको बताना है. आगे बढ़ते हैं. कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट ने एंटी करप्शन ब्यूरो को स्क्रैप कर दिया है और वापस से लोकायुक्त को पावर दे दी है. So if you will notice this, in this you will find that it is a major setback to the state government. The High Court of Karnataka on Thursday has set aside the constitution of Anti-Corruption Bureau. Now, this Anti-Corruption Bureau was problematic because it was given under the direct control of the Chief Minister of India. Now, Chief Minister of India, is not a constitutional post. Rather, you will say that it's a political post. Now, political post, someone who is in charge of the government of the state is also having a say on the corruption. So, this amounts to partiality of Anti-Corruption Bureau. Anti-Corruption Bureau cannot always remain neutral, cannot always remain independent if it is in the control of a politically elected person. This is to be seen, right? Now, in this, the power was given to deal cases under POCA, Prevention of Corruption Act of 1982, against public servants. Remember, against public servants. Now, in this, the High Court has stated that since this is an executive power given to a particular state under Article 162 of the Constitution of India, and this particular power under this Karnataka Lokayukta 1984 Act has already occupied the place, there can be no other alternative body that can be created by the Chief Minister. Now, in this, the final verdict states that the ACB is abolished with immediate effect. And where the investigation power has gone, it has gone to the Lokayukt Police Wing as it existed prior to the creation of the ACB. कोर्ट ने यह भी बता दिया कि जितनी भी अभी तक पेंडिंग इंक्वायरीज हैं, इन्वेस्टिगेशन है या कोई केस है जो कि एसीबी ले रहा था, अब सब लोकायुक्त पुलिस को ट्रांसफर किया जाएगा. इसमें जो जजेस थे, जस्टिस बी वीरप्पा और जस्टिस एच.एस. हेमलखा थे. इन्होंने पीआईएल के ऊपर ये डिसीजन सुनाया है, ठीक है. और बेसिकली इसमें कहा गया है ये कि चीफ मिनिस्टर सुप्रीम है और there is no independent application of mind by the state government as it was issued merely based on the recommendation of the Director General and Inspector General of Police. Now in this you see this is basically saying that chief minister is a supreme. कानून को देख के ऐसा लगता है कि चीफ मिनिस्टर ही सुप्रीम है, तो इसमें ज्यादा थॉट प्रोसेस नहीं दिया गया है, स्टेट असेंबली ने नहीं दिया है, इसीलिए हम इसको हटा दे रहे हैं। और कोई नेसेसिटी नहीं है हमें कि हम एसीबी को ज्यादा पावर्स दें और लोकायुक्त की पावर को कम करें। करेक्ट। तो ये वाला जो इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोविजन है, इसमें जो टर्म है आपके लिए वो लोकायुक्त बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म है। लोकायुक्त ट्रेंडिंग है, नया टर्म है, इसीलिए लोकायुक्त को आप ध्यान से पढ़ेंगे। आगे आते हैं। थर्ड क्वेश्चन हमारा आज के टॉपिक से है कि इनमें से कौन सा स्टेटमेंट ट्रू है विद रिगार्ड्स टू लोकायुक्त इन इंडिया। ठीक है, करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट आपको बताना है। इसके पास बोथ सिविल और क्रिमिनल कोड की पावर है। सुओ मोटो कॉग्निजेंस ले सकता है, इट कैन टेक सुओ मोटो कॉग्निजेंस ऑफ द करप्शन मैटर्स वेयर पब्लिक अथॉरिटी इज इन्वॉल्व। पब्लिक अथॉरिटी को आप पब्लिक सर्वेंट ही समझिएगा। ये अपनी रिपोर्ट्स गवर्नर ऑफ द स्टेट को देगा और लोकायुक्त अपने को ऐसे भी मैटर दे सकता है, कैन रिफर द मैटर टू इटसेल्फ इवन इफ सच मैटर इज पेंडिंग अदरवाइज, इवन इफ सच मैटर इज पेंडिंग अदरवाइज बिफोर एनी अदर कोर्ट। नाउ इन सब में से आपको करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट बताना, यानी कि 3 इनकरेक्ट होंगे और एक ही करेक्ट होगा। तो आप जरा इसको ध्यान से देखिएगा और लोकायुक्त एज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन को आप बहुत ध्यान से पढ़िए और फिर इस क्वेश्चन को आंसर करिए। तो थर्ड का अगर आंसर आपका ए है तो आप ऐसे लिखेंगे, थर्ड का आंसर बी है, थर्ड का आंसर सी है और थर्ड का आंसर डी है, तो आप अपने कॉमेंट सेक्शन में लिख के बताइए। ठीक है, अब हम आते हैं इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स फर्दर। क्रिमिनल आइडेंटिफिकेशन एक्ट 2022। नाउ ये पूरा का पूरा एक्सप्लेन्ड आया है इन द हिंदू में। इसमें बताया गया है कि ये जो रिसेंट लेजिस्लेशन है, नया कानून जो है, ये पुराना कानून जो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट करता था उसका नाम था आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ प्रिजनर्स एक्ट 1920, उससे किस तरीके से अलग है। तो ये जो एक्ट है 2022 का, इसमें देखिए एक तरह का प्रोसीजर बताया गया। द प्रोसीजर हैज बीन डिस्क्राइब्ड फॉर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ द पर्सन्स। नाउ फॉर दिस आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ द पर्सन्स इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू कलेक्ट मेजरमेंट्स। नाउ दैट मेजरमेंट्स is the main question. That measurements is the main question. For example, if a police body has arrested you, is taking your fingerprint, where the possibility of a hand impression is not there. For example, let's say you are caught violating the traffic. You're caught violating the traffic, or your vehicle is presumed by the police officer to be stolen. For that matter, the investigation with regards to the vehicle has to be done. But taking your biometrics, taking your handwriting, and taking your thumb impressions, in that case, is not really necessary. Now, this is the general understanding of the people that every individual has a certain right to privacy coming out from Article 21, which gives every individual the right to liberty. Now, this particular act has given legal support to the law enforcement agencies. Law enforcement agencies to do what? For taking measurements of convicts and other persons. Now, you see the word convicts, यानी जिनको सजा हो चुकी है, तो उनका लेना तो समझ में आता है क्योंकि कानून उनका गुनहगार कह रहा है, लेकिन अदर पर्सन्स जो है यहाँ पे इशू हो जाता है। तो मेजरमेंट्स, कैसे मेजरमेंट्स, अदर पर्सन्स, कौन अदर पर्सन्स में आएगा, इन सब को लॉ डिफाइन करना चाहता था, करना चाहिए था, दो क्लियरली डिफाइन नहीं किया गया है। और मैटर कैसा होगा, सिर्फ क्रिमिनल होगा। मेजरमेंट्स क्यों लिए जाते हैं, फोटोग्राफ्स क्यों ली जाती है, उसका 3 पर्पस होता है क्रिमिनल लॉ में। एक होता है आइडेंटिटी सिक्योर करना, दूसरा होता है सस्पेक्टेड रिपीटेशन देखना, अगर उसी व्यक्ति ने कहीं दूसरे थाने से पे रिपोर्ट है उसके नाम की, तो आप उसका आइडेंटिफिकेशन ले लीजिए, मैच करा लीजिए अपने डेटा से, आपको पता चल जाएगा कि ये ऑलरेडी वांटेड है या इसको पहले सजा मिल चुकी है और फिर से ये जेल से छूटा है, उसने फिर से कोई अपराध किया। तो सस्पेक्टेड रिपीटेशन ऑफ ऑफेंस एंड प्रीवियस कन्विक्शन आल्सो, फॉर दीज 3 पर्पसेस इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी टेक मेजरमेंट्स। नाउ इन दिस the state is required to notify appropriate agency, which means the state government will tell the appropriate agency to preserve this database of measurements. So the storage of the particular data that will be collected by these authorities has been you can say distributed under 2 heads. First state and then other is union. So most of the data that will be collected would be with the union government, but state is also required to notify the appropriate agencies collect and preserve this database, which means the data custodian would be the union government. So at national level, which is the body which is responsible for this, National Crime Records Bureau, NCRB, is the agency to manage, process, share, disseminate the records collected at the state level. Now, this particular legislation is coming in the backdrop of right to privacy. So what and how this particular act is different from the previous act. So here is a comparative chart. In this comparison chart, you will find that Identification of Prisoners Act is there and the new law is there. Now, if you notice this particular thing, right, in this, notice the first thing, that persons whose measurements, किसका measurement लिया जाएगा? तो यहाँ पे कहा, पुराना कानून कहता था जिसको rigorous imprisonment हुई है 1 साल से ज्यादा की, और यहाँ पे कह रहा है कि any offense punishable under any law, right? Now in this, the persons also should be arrested, right? This particular new act extends to person arrested also, right? And persons under house detention also, which means political prisoners under preventive detentions, they are also the part of it. Now, in this, the purpose of the investigation had to be directed by the magistrate, and if the magistrate is directing that, measurements to be taken for the purpose of investigation. In this case, if directed by the magistrate for the measures to be taken for the purpose of investigation under CRPC, there is no requirement for the person to have been arrested. For this, the person has to be arrested, right? Now, order to give security for his good behavior is there. Order to give security for his good behavior under CRPC is there. But this is not related to measurement. This is related to bail. So that is there. Measurements जो लिए जा सकते थे, again कौन से measurements लिए जाएंगे, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया था, ये भी important है देखने के लिए. तो देखिए finger impressions, foot impressions, measurements और photographs. अब इसमें देखिए आप कितना extensive है. Palm print, footprint, photographs, retina scan, iris scan, biological samples, behavioral attributes, signature, handwriting, which are referred in section 53, section 53A of the CRPC code of 1973. Now, चलो मेजरमेंट ले लिया, उसको हटाएंगे कब? तो इस केस में कब हटाएंगे? पुराने लॉ के हिसाब से कब हटाते थे? जब आपको अक्विट कर दिया जाए, डिस्चार्ज कर दिया जाए या रिलीज कर दिया जाए, और आपको कोई प्रीवियस कन्विक्शन नहीं है और आपको रिगोरस इंप्रिजनमेंट ऑफ 1 साल से भी कम का हुआ, तो आपका डेटा डिलीट कर दिया जाएगा. मतलब आप सब छोटे मोटे अपराध के लिए आए थे. लेकिन इसमें क्या है, इन केस ऑफ एक्विटल, डिस्चार्ज और रिलीज, अगर आपका प्रीवियस कन्विक्शन नहीं, यानी आप रिपीटेड ऑफेंडर नहीं हो, तो ऐसे में आपको डेटा को डिलीट कर दिया जाएगा, वरना रखा जाएगा. फॉर कॉन्विक्ट्स, रिकॉर्ड्स आर टू बी डिस्ट्रॉयड फ्रॉम 75 years ऑफ करेक्शन. सो अगर आपको अपराधी घोषित कर दिया गया है तो 75 साल तक आपका डेटा सरकार के पास रहेगा. अब ये सब हम पढ़ रहे हैं क्योंकि बेसिकली ये जो बिल है, इसमें बेसिकली राइट टू प्राइवेसी की बात की गई. ये कार्टून आपको काफी कुछ चीजें दिखाएगा. देखिए, राइट टू प्राइवेसी हमारे यहाँ पे फंडामेंटल राइट है. फंडामेंटल राइट है पार्ट 3 में. कहां पे? पार्ट 3 में. पर ये याद रखिएगा कि पार्ट 3 एब्सोल्यूट नहीं है. पार्ट 3 के सारे अधिकार ऐसे नहीं है कि वो जैसे हैं वो हमेशा वैसे ही रहेंगे. पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया इन फंडामेंटल राइट्स को टेक अवे कर सकता है, मोल्ड कर सकता है. बस इसमें यह ध्यान रखना है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ना चेंज हो. और बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है? मूलभूत ढांचा, जिसके तहत संविधान हमारा पूरे मशीनरी को, गवर्नेंस इंस्टीट्यूशंस को चलाता है. यहाँ पे आपको दिखाई देगा कि ये पर्सन जो इमेज में है ये गवर्नमेंट रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है, और ये आपका ये रूल है राइट टू प्राइवेसी इज अ फंडामेंटल राइट. और उसमें ये कहीं ना कहीं गैप्स क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. गवर्नमेंट गैप क्रिएट कर रही है, क्या दिखाने के लिए? कि राइट टू प्राइवेसी इज नॉट एब्सोल्यूट. सो दिस इज basically a lot of time recommendations have been given. Now the recommendations were also given by 87th Law Commission report. The recommendations was also given in the case of state of UP versus Ram Babu Mishra, where we had the option to amend the law. The 87th report of the Law Commission of India also took a review of the Prisoners Act 1920 and asked to reform the amendment. So it was about the reforms, but the reforms has to be directly proportional, or the taking away of the right to privacy should be directly proportional. ये याद रखिएगा. There is a doctrine of proportionality that I am telling you. Since I am masters in criminal law and I am an advocate by profession, so I am telling you the intricacies of the law field also. There is a doctrine of proportionality which was propounded in K.S. Puttaswamy judgment, in which Supreme Court has stated simply this, that if a fundamental right of a citizen, is taken away by state, now state has to justify as to why it is doing that. In this particular Identification Act, state already has a justification because similar provisions has been suggested by the Supreme Court of India and by the 87th report of the Law Commission of India. Now, there can be a particular dedicated question on this, but this is related to a particular law which is related to prisoners and criminal system. For that matter, you just need to know the basics. And but this right to privacy is an important part of GS2, and then that becomes important. And we also need to require certain kind of amend certain sections of the Code of Civil Criminal Procedure of 1973. Moving further ahead, the next topic, the launch of SSLV GS3. Now, in this particularly, SSLV will not be uniquely asked. There are a lot of missions that the Gaganyaan is there, which is India's first space mission. Shukrayaan is there, that this is planning, ISRO is planning. Other than Shukrayaan, Mangalyaan is there. Chandrayaan 3 is in the line. Chandrayaan 3 is in line. You see, New Space India Limited company has been formed, right? So all these are concomitant, related to each other. Now, when they're related to each other, we will be particularly talking about ISRO as an institution and its space achievements and ambitions. So for that, underperformance of a satellite mission reveals critical anomalies in the functioning of the ISRO. The ISRO does not have the potential to compete with Western giants. Critically comment, if this question is there, then you see, you need to use your intuitive brain to be able to answer it. Now, for that matter, you have to first think that SSLV has not failed, it is successful. That particular launch vehicle was assembled in just 3 days, and it was the cheapest launch vehicle till date. If that could go up to a height of around 50-60 kilometers, and after that some issue has happened, I think that's remarkable in itself, right? So it is a small SSLV. If you notice particularly about PSLV, we have PSLV, we have GSLV. PSLV is a polar satellite launch vehicle. This basically was started in 1994, and around 55 PSLVs have been launched so far. It is the cheapest mode of transporting any satellite to the low Earth orbit or middle Earth orbit. And we have seen recently ASEAN countries approaching ISRO for launching their satellites. So we have seen PSLV C-53 recently launched around 3 satellites of Singapore, 3 satellites of Singapore. And again, that is the basically New Space India Limited, and that is the commercialization of space, right? So this is a particular that it will establish the satellite in the low Earth orbit, and it is a low cost, low turnaround in mind with launch and demand flexibility. So try to read about ISRO, try to read about SLV, which is the largest launch vehicle India has. It is GSLV Mark III. GSLV Mark III. So you can also know about the specialities of GSLV Mark III. These all things are important for us. Moving further ahead, you see that this vehicle, what went wrong after approaching the operational phase, the vehicle's basically accelerometer failed, right? Now in this, the ISRO has also decided to shed off its load and has asked New Space India Limited to take over. New Space India Limited to take over ISRO? No. New Space India to take over production and launch operations of SSLV, right? It's a public sector undertaking which was formed in 6th March 2019. It is under Department of State, formed under Companies Act 2013. What? New SSLV, right? So now coming to this internal security topic, next 2 topics, we are going to do it a bit fast, and you will try to read more about it. So if you notice this northeastern region, you find that there are 7 states. Now in these 7 states, we have recently heard that there is a direct conflict happening in Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. And you see, these are the boundaries we have with Myanmar, and here we have Bangladesh. Now, if you notice these 2 countries, you will find that they have porous borders. Also, if you notice, this particular area is called as the chicken neck, right? Also, if you go to this, the Indian, if you go to look into the matter with regards to Indian Constitution, you will find that these are vulnerable groups, tribal groups, and they are protected under Schedule 6. They are protected under, they have special protection under Schedule 6, right? So, Schedule 6 basically allows these regions, these tribes, to remain autonomous, to remain independent of any political influence, which is why it is very important that these Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Kohima, Nagaland, Manipur, basically they are certain languages and tribes. They dwell in the particular region. Now, it can be like the boundaries that we have drawn may not be so rigid with regards to community, right? Because community has a tendency to cross the borders and likewise. So there are different blocks, there are different cities in the border where these states continuously face issues with each other. Now, Ministry of Home Affairs has intervened and tried to resort, or you can say, mediate between these states, but it is definitely up to these states to resolve the issues. Now, if you notice the issue between Assam and Arunachal, this is basically because of the two colonial demarcations of 1875 and 1933. Since the boundary was not clear that time, the issue has spread along 12 cities which are there in the interstate boundaries. So Assam has 8 districts, while Arunachal has 12 along the interstate boundaries. Now, Assam-Arunachal border dispute resolution is a formula similar to the Assam and Meghalaya, which they have applied for their 885-kilometer boundary. Now, there is an agreement between them. This agreement is called as Namsai Declaration. So, a question particular to Namsai Declaration, it is least likely that it will appear, but yes, you can read that Namsai Declaration is the agreement between two states for the settlement of 123 villages along the border, right? In which 86 villages, access to 86 villages were restricted. So Assam and Arunachal share around 804-kilometer boundary, and they have formed 12 regional committees to decide among themselves to resolve the issue. Now, this is again important for internal security point of view, and it is a recurring topic. It keeps on coming, so it might also appear in, you can say, the mains paper this year. India and Bangladesh have joined hands to prevent cross-border terrorism. Now, if you notice, Bangladesh is India's largest trading partner in South Asia, and we have a lot of imports and exports going on with Bangladesh. Bangladesh is also important to India, for India to leverage its maritime security policy, Sagar vision, and everything in the Bay of Bengal region. And in this fourth India-Bangladesh annual defense dialogue has taken place, in which defense cooperation between the two countries have been satisfactorily elaborated, and collaboration is still growing between them. So good signs are always there, and both the sides have emphasized to implement the $500 million line of credit, which is India is going to extend for defense items. You can find that the Defense Secretary of India, Ajay Kumar, is greeting Lieutenant General Waqar-uz-Zaman in New Delhi, right? So you will read about that. Coming back to the last point, this is the descriptive mains question we have today. Now, the question tells you that the perception of Indian democracy is skewed by Western democracies, which is always reflected in their indices, marking India at an abysmal position. You have to critically comment. Now, to explain you this particular question, the question simply says that इंडिया की डेमोक्रेसी को बड़े ही गलत तरीके से देखा जाता है, मिक्स्ड तरीके से देखा जाता है वेस्टर्न डेमोक्रेसीज द्वारा, जो कि अक्सर देखने को मिलता है उनकी रैंकिंग में, उनके इंडाइसेस में, जो इसमें वो इंडिया को काफी नीचे की पोजीशन देते हैं. इस पूरे स्टेटमेंट को आपको क्रिटिकली एग्जामिन करना है. क्रिटिकली एग्जामिन करने का मतलब ये रहता है कि ये जो गिवन स्टेटमेंट है, आपको इसको पॉजिटिव मानना है, आपको इसको पॉजिटिव मानना है, और फिर इसके नेगेटिव्स बताने हैं, और फिर इसके नेगेटिव्स बताने हैं. यानी कि आप मान लो कि इंडिया की डेमोक्रेसी स्क्यूड है, मान लो कि ये जो इंडाइसेस हैं ये इंडिया को नीचे दिखाते हैं, और अब आपको इसमें क्रिटिकली कमेंट करना है. और क्रिटिकली कमेंट का ये भी मतलब है कि आपको सिर्फ नेगेटिव्स नहीं दिखाने हैं, आपको इसके पॉजिटिव्स भी बताने हैं. यानी कि ये स्टेटमेंट कह रहा है कि इंडिया की डेमोक्रेसी का परसेप्शन काफी कम है, और इसको आपको क्रिटिकली एग्जामिन करना है. तो ये स्टेटमेंट को जब आप क्रिटिकली एग्जामिन करोगे तो आप ये मानोगे कि इंडिया की डेमोक्रेसी का जो परसेप्शन है वो वाकई में काफी कम है, और आप अपने पॉइंट समझाने की कोशिश करोगे कि आखिरकार ऐसे क्या क्या रीजंस हुए हैं जिसकी वजह से इस इंडिया की डेमोक्रेसी को वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज ने नीचे दिखाया। तो ऑब्वियसली आपको कंपैरिजन करना पड़ेगा कुछ फंडामेंटल राइट्स को, जैसे कि हमारा इंटरनेट की फ्रीडम है। अब इंटरनेट की फ्रीडम इंडिया में भी अनुराधा भाषण के केस में ये फंडामेंटल राइट बोल दिया गया है, लेकिन इसको रिकॉग्नाइज कौन करता है? ठीक है, इंटरनेट फ्रीडम मींस एक्सेस टू इंटरनेट। देन यू विल फाइंड दैट देयर आर लॉकडाउन्स। लॉकडाउन्स बोले हम या बोले द बेड वर्ड वुड बी इंटरनेट शटडाउन्स। ये इंटरनेट शटडाउन्स हुए हैं अभी आर्टिकल 370 के एब्रोगेशन के बाद। उसके बाद आप देख सकते हो माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी जो है उसको टारगेट किया गया है। उसके बाद आप देखोगे आपको जो जर्नलिस्ट हैं, विसल ब्लोअर्स जो हैं, जो गवर्नमेंट के अगेंस्ट बोल रहे हैं, उनको अरेस्ट किया जा रहा है। तो ये सारी चीजें इंडिया की डेमोक्रेसी में कहीं ना कहीं क्वेश्चन उठाती है। सिर्फ डेमोक्रेसी में गवर्नमेंट का एक्शन नहीं आएगा, वोटिंग टर्नआउट, वोटर परसेंटेज जो पार्टिसिपेट करती है वोटिंग में, वो भी डेमोक्रेसी को दर्शाएगी। इंडिपेंडेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस किस तरीके से काम कर रहे हैं, इंडिपेंडेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस कितने इंडिपेंडेंट हैं, ये सब भी इंडिया की डेमोक्रेसी को दर्शाएंगे। तो इन सारे फैक्टर्स पे आप क्या कर सकते हो, इंडिया के एक एनालिसिस बनाओ, उसके बाद उसको वेस्टर्न के लॉ से कंपेयर करो। जैसे कि कुछ इंटरनेशनली लॉज हैं, यूडीएचआर है 1948 का, ये आप हर जगह लगा सकते हो। अगर क्योंकि बात डेमोक्रेसी की हो रही है तो सिविल पॉलिटिकल राइट्स है 1976 के, ये भी आप हर जगह यूज कर सकते हो। उसके बाद पार्ट 3 ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तो है ही, तो इससे आप अपना कंपैरिजन करिएगा। एक बार फटाक से हम जरा इंडेक्स समझ लेते हैं कि आज हमने कौन कौन से टॉपिक्स डिस्कस किए। द हिंदू एनालिसिस में टुडे वी हैव डिस्कस्ड बेसिकली टेरर सैंक्शंस कमिटी ऑफ यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल। We have discussed the electoral college of the Vice President of India. Then we have discussed the Lokayukt and Anti-Corruption Bureau. Then we have discussed the Criminal Procedure Identification Act, salient points in that. Small satellite launch vehicle also has been discussed. Internal security issue, Assam Arunachal border has been discussed, and relationship between India and Bangladesh has been discussed. So this was Harshvardhan Tripathi. I hope you enjoyed the session. Happy Raksha Bandhan to all of you. Independence Day is coming, and I would request all of you to take part in the campaign Har Ghar Tiranga. So Government of India has already announced Har Ghar Tiranga, right? I would request everyone to participate in Har Ghar Tiranga and be proud of your country that it is 75 years of India's independence. Till then, I hope you prepare well and take your good care. Bye bye. Thank you. All the best.